And this is a different kind of Pitt team than we have saw Carolina face probably since Kenny Pickett a few years ago. What's going on, Tar Heel Nation? Nathan and Alan here. We are your Heel Brothers, and welcome into the Scouting Report, where our Week 6 matchup, the Pittsburgh Panthers are taking a trip down from Pennsylvania to come into Keenan and face our North Carolina Tar Heels. Alan, we are by ourselves this evening. It's a little bit different. We're not used to
all by myself.
Yeah, I know, man. It's sad. It really is. Normally when we have a spokesperson on to talk about the team coming in that knows the team a whole lot better than us, and we reached out to every single Pittsburgh creator that there was, and there's very, very few of them. Very slim pickings over there for the Pittsburgh content creators. Somebody needs to step up, man. We could really use you. But nevertheless, we have done a scouting report for you guys tonight, and we're going to try our best. We don't know everything about Pittsburgh, but we are definitely going to try our best tonight. This is a Pittsburgh team that's currently 4-0 on the young season. They're coming off of a bye week, coming into Keenan, and this is a different kind of Pitt team than we have saw Carolina face probably since Kenny Pickett a few years ago. That's probably about the most equivalent that I can find of this team compared to that team. Probably not as good defensively or running the football, but hey, let's get into it. If there's one thing that we know about Pitt, it's definitely that they are a defensive team first. First and foremost, the defense is where they're anchoring. And Alan, you have taken the time to scout that Pittsburgh defense. So let us in. Let us know what's going to be happening with Carolina, who they're going to face defensively, what we need to look out for.
Yeah, man. So of course, the defense coordinator is Randy Bates, serving as 7th season under Narduzzi. So from what I gathered, you know what Pitt does. They bring a lot of pressure. They swarm the offensive line. They really try to lock down the opponent's running game. And they leave their defensive backs on islands and say, if you're going to beat us, you better get this ball. The quarterback better be able to make real quick decisions and get the ball out in a hurry, or if not, it's going to be a sack, a turnover. So I've just went through and looked at their stats, and I picked out a few players to keep an eye on that's had the most stat filling. They filled the stats up basically through the 4 games against nobody but West Virginia. All right,
Hit us with it.
We'll start with their defensive line. They just call them. The roster doesn't tell me if it's a safety, a defensive end, a defensive tackle.
Right.
It just says D line. We're going with Nate Matlick. 6'5", 250. Sounds like your prototypical edge to me. He has 8 tackles, 3 sacks. He has the most on the defensive line. Okay.
I think he was actually he may have been one of the transfers, because I know they picked up a couple of edge rushers in the transfer portal this year too.
Yeah,
maybe one of those guys. I'm gonna fact check that.
But then they have 2 outstanding linebackers, and so the first linebacker I'd like to point out, his name's Kyle Lewis. 33 tackles, 1 forced fumble, and the most interceptions on the team with 2. To me, that's pretty interesting. Your linebacker has 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
Their second linebacker, Rasheem Biles, he has 32 tackles and is responsible for 3 sacks. Okay. So they're really the ones coming downhill, filling the gaps and making the tackles. And the standout defensive back, and he has the most tackles on the team at 35. He's forced a fumble. He's intercepted 1 pass, and that's Donovan McMillan. With that many tackles, I would think that he's a safety. I don't think your corner is going to have that many tackles. I really don't.
Right.
I'm thinking Donovan's going to be, either your nickel, your star, your safety. That way he can really fit in these run fits. But the Pitt D as a whole has 11 sacks on the year, 5 interceptions, and 3 forced fumbles and three fumble recoveries. And if you look at the stats, almost all of their, if somebody's tackling the ball carrier, it's either the linebackers or their defensive backs. The defensive line doesn't really have a whole lot of tackles to their name. As a whole, I think I might have counted 20.
So teams are getting up in the second level on them.
Right. Either they're getting in the second level, or Randy Bates really relies on the linebackers, star / safety, to really come down and fit in that run fit.
Sounds like Carolina.
Two linebackers, between two linebackers, they got 60. Then Donovan has 35 himself. Right. So, what we're going to get out of this defense, man. It's not going to be complicated. They're going to stack that box. They're going to bring that safety down and bring him into the box. Really make it tough on Omarion. If Omarion gets 100 yards, I think North Carolina has a good chance of winning this game. Unless it's just like he breaks one loose for 50, then that's a different story. Right. But it's going to be tough sledding. And last year when Pitt played, they had what was his name, Cansey. He got a defensive tackle end. Anyway, drafted in the first round, got ejected for targeting. And I thought that really changed the game when he got ejected for targeting, because he was absolutely wreaking havoc on the offensive line. And this our offensive line's been struggling, man. I mean, they
especially as of late.
Duke really got after him. JMU got after him. Duke made some adjustments in that second half and really got after him. We're going to have to see what Jacoby Criswell is made of. These quick check down passes, or hopefully one of your speedier wide receivers can create some separation to get this Pitt defense to back off. But I mean, they didn't really back off when they played Drake, so I don't foresee them backing off tomorrow Saturday.
Yeah, and I double checked really quickly. You said his name was Nate Matlack.
Matlack, Matlack.
Yes, he is a transfer coming in from Kansas State. He came in this off season. This is a team that they are going to. I think they're going to bring as much pressure as they possibly can, outside of whatever they need to cover the wide receivers and the tight ends, and get after it, because Carolina over the last couple of weeks for sure has shown that, hey, we can't pick up blitzers left, right, and center. We're having issues with that. Duke really settled in the second half of that game this past Saturday, and that's what they sent at Carolina. So that's one thing that's for sure. So Duke's going to bring it. Pitt's going to bring it. They always do. They are a tough team. They're a tough ground and pound team. They're going to bring the physicality. They always do. This game is somebody gets hurt coming out of this game every single year, and that's really what it's going to be. Yeah, it's a very physical football game, and Pitt does not like North Carolina at all, and vice versa. I think Jacoby Criswell mentioned it this past week.
And I'm sorry to step on you.
You good?
The one thing I can say, the one time North Carolina has faced a physical team was Minnesota, and they answered the bell.
Yeah. I mean, a truly, ground and pound. You're going to go in there and you're going to have to fight really hard in order to win that game. It just depends on I think it's going to depend on how athletic the defensive line is. We'll see how they are, but let's go from there. But man, I'm going to flip it over to the offense now, because this is a different offense than what we've saw out of Pitt over the last few years. Normally, this is a run-first team. Take that and completely flip it on its head. This is a pass-heavy team right now. They got the transfer Eli Holstein in from Alabama this past offseason right here, and he has come in and lit the world on fire. He's 87 of 129. He's got 1,183 yards on the season, 12 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. He is 6'4", 225 pounds, and he's also on top of it rushed for 189 yards. He's their second leading rusher right now, behind their transfer running back who's come in and did a really good job for them in Des Reed. 44 carries for 319 yards, got a touchdown. He's 5'8", shorter guy, 175 pounds, and he's averaging almost 7.5 yards per carry. Evidently dude's got some speed, and when they've called upon him, he's been able to answer the bell for this offense. And also Eli Holstein's go-to receiver. I cannot say his first name at all, so I'm just gonna go Mumpfield. He's been there for a little while. He's got 20 receptions on the year, 315 yards, 3 touchdowns, averaging, get this, 15.8 yards a catch. 6'1", 185 pounds. That is just the top. These are just the stat leaders on offense. They actually have 6 receivers over 100 yards for the season right now. Obviously, Mumpfield leading. One of those receivers being their 55th year tight end, Bartholomew, who is back again. I did not realize this, but he is back again this year playing tight end for Pittsburgh. And this offense has done a really good job of moving the ball down the field. They are led by a brand new offensive coordinator in Cade Bell. He come over from Western Carolina. He's been known to be aggressive. He's dynamic. He's actually a good friend of Jeff Collins. And Jeff Collins talked about that in his presser this week, and how they've known each other. He really knows his dad, and how Cade has just come up over the last few years. He's really proud of him, and actually even attended one of the Western Carolina games. He led that. Western Carolina was looked at as one of the top offenses in the FCS for the last couple of years that Cade was leading. And this is going to be an interesting offense to see. They've got weapons all over the place. They have really put in an emphasis on spreading the ball around, hence that 6 players for over 100 yards already. For instance, I think Carolina's got 4 or 5s as we sit right now. And that, they're kind of barely over 100. I don't think anybody's over 200 yards currently right now as we speak. And he's just done a really good job with it. Eli Holstein's a guy that has a similar play style to that of Drake May. Where he's pretty accurate passer. He can put the ball on the money, but also he can move too. He's rushed for 189 yards. This guy can get out of the pocket and can really hurt you. So you're going to have to commit. I think Carolina's going to have to commit somebody to kind of keep an eye on him, whether it be Power or Amari or whoever it may be. Because if they can't keep the pocket in check, then and control their gaps, this guy can get loose and really hurt you. So. They're going to be really dynamic on offense. They're going to be running all kinds of different little personnel groupings out there to disguise. They're a big disguising team, it seems, on offense. And they're coming off a bye week, but the week before, they dropped 73 on Youngstown State. I understand it's Youngstown State, but still, dropping 73, that's saying something. I mean, that's pretty daggum. When you putting that many points on the board, that is saying something. So
the basketball team don't usually get that many.
Right. Yeah. Daggum, what's his name? Capel or something like that. He needs
Jeff Capel, I believe.
Yeah, Jeff Capel. He needs to take some pointers from the Pitt offense with Cade. He might just need to bring Cade Bell in. Just bring him in, man. Just be a dual guy. But yeah, this is going to be an offense that's going to move the ball down the field. They're not going to be shy from taking the deep shot. And from what I've saw, looks like Holstein will hold the ball a little bit to try and get the big play. But I think he's taken a few sacks this year.
15 leads the ACC.
Yeah, he's taken some sacks this year. So for Carolina's sake, you better hope you can get to him, because if you don't, boy,
I like our corners. I like our corners.
I like our corners too. They have missed on a couple of big time plays in this
No, that was the
season,
safeties,
in
not
the
the
last couple
corners.
of seasons. No, I'm talking about Elijah Huzzy's been getting beat some. I've been watching him. He got beat at Charlotte. I saw him get beat at JMU, and I saw him get beat once this past week at Duke. Marcus Allen's been doing better. He's not been committing pass interference. Is really going to help in that department as well. So this is a team that is a very well rounded. They are the best team that Carolina has faced to this point. The most well rounded team that you've faced, and this is going to be a test for Carolina. And I'm looking forward to this test, man. By the way, I did a little research for us. You know how
Yeah,
we always like doing our traditions?
yeah,
Well, I happened to look some up and I happened to come across some there. A couple of things that they do over there
yeah.
in Pittsburgh. Number one is they like to play Sweet Caroline, and West Virginia has a nice little remix to that. But they say all hail Pitt, right? But
Hmm.
then at every this is home game. Every home game, and actually this is just like a university wide thing, but before like exam week, or the like before they go, like any of the students go do the exams, or they have a football game, they may have do it for basketball too, it didn't really specify, but they all go to the big statue panther and they rub his nose. They boop the daggum nose of the panther before they take their tests or play a football game. So
That's wild.
that's boop. Just give him a little boop on the nose. Just there you go. Boop. Just whatever. I mean, maybe they can go boop the Ram this week. I don't. I hope he. No, don't do that. That would just be weird. So, yeah, this is gonna be a good game. Hopefully, well, I'll say hopefully it's a good game. But this is basically it. Normally, we have a whole lot more questions for people, that come on. But I think,
Yeah, short
hopefully
and
we did a
sweet.
good
We ain't
job
got
for
a
the.
guess. We ain't got an insider.
Yeah, like hopefully we did a good job on the scouting report this week. We'll be back to normal next week as we have Rec Talk on from Georgia Tech. That's going to be an interesting one. And be sure to keep an eye out for the preview and prediction for this game. We're looking forward to it, man. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. And as always, go Heels.
Go, 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 Heels.
You don't want none!